Jody here, and I wanted to make this video. Hopefully it'll be brief, but I want to make it for the men who are out there that want more out of their marriage. They want to optimize their marriage. So let me start by saying, sometimes I wonder if I'm qualified to talk about this. Perhaps I may be, I don't know. But I can tell you, I believe in the concept of your mess is your message, and perhaps even your mission. And when it comes to marriage and optimizing marriage and even failed marriages, I've got a mess, and I've since fixed and improved and done much better. So my mess was, in short, I married way too young, chose the wrong girl for the wrong reasons. It crashed and burned. I was a young man. I was without clarity. I was hard-driven, type A, didn't know where I was going, didn't know what I wanted. The truth is, I was angry. It just didn't look like me running around getting in fights and punching holes in walls. That wasn't me. It was more of this, what I call these underlying forms of anger: agitation, irritation, aggravation. That was me, man. And I was working hard and going to school and all this other stuff, and she had some issues, so did I. And at the end of the day, she was diagnosed as bipolar, amongst other stuff. She had some mental illnesses, turned to drugs, and it just went downhill, man. It was terrible. I ended up, very much in debt, and I was not the man I needed to be. I was not prepared. I was not ready to be a husband. She ultimately didn't make it, man. She passed away. And I've got nothing. I try to have nothing but grace and love and good thoughts as best I can. Because anger, resentment, betrayal, at first I looked at him like, how could you have run us up in so much debt? What's wrong with you? Like, it was all like me pointing the finger. And I say that because I know a lot of you men out there can relate. How could you have done this? You betrayed me, betrayed us. And I gotta tell you, brothers, men, if you need to sit in that, sit in it, but get out of it as soon as you can, man. It is just toxic. It does not punish you, it does not punish her, it punishes you. And the sooner a man can get, the sooner you can get, the sooner I could have gotten, and I did pretty well, all things considered. The sooner that we can get out of that, find acceptance, ultimately find love, which usually comes after acceptance and even forgiveness, the sooner we can go to work on what we can go to work on, which is ourselves. Ultimately, if one wants to optimize marriage, and that's my hope in doing this video, is just sharing with you some tips, some tools, some tactics and techniques, some strategies that are absolutely working for me and the men in Thumos, where we're upgrading life, man. We're optimizing, we're leveling up. Number one, I think it starts with 100% accountability. I could have looked back at my wife and with blame and pointing fingers, but at the end of the day, as a man, 100% accountability, man. There's things I could have done. I was not prepared. I was not ready. I was not clear. All that stuff. By the way, I fast forward to where I am today. Holy cow. About 3 decades later, 52 years of age, I got a great marriage, man. It's not perfect. I'm excited about the potential because I don't even know what that potential is. Man, I got a good marriage. I'm blessed. I got a wife. We've been married since 2006. And we connect every day. We have communication, connection, coffee. She drinks her hot tea. We share dreams. We share our current. We share our future. We share the love and the activities of our kids. They're currently 15, 13, 11. Almost like living, it's almost too good to be true. And you guys know what I mean when I say almost. Like, it's just like, okay, what's about to go down? What's about to happen? All my boys are under the roof right now. Life is good, man. We're enjoying and loving their sports. But it wasn't always that way. And so I guess what I want to share is like, how did I get here? Not perfect. How did I get to where I am? And more importantly, how can that potentially help you? Well, first of all, I was an avid achiever. I guess a type A, still am. Like, I love upgrading. I love optimizing life. Like, never settling. That's not all good, but it's not all bad. In fact, I wouldn't change it for the world. And not all men are like this, I get that. But when I went through my hard times in that first marriage that crashed and burned, 100% on me, I just dove into the drug of self-improvement. From a finance standpoint, it was Dave Ramsey back in those days. And read the Bible cover to cover, read like 60 books in 1 year. I would spend days, the whole Saturday at Barnes and Noble, back before they were liberal, and I don't even really want to be in there. I don't want to be in there anymore. Man, aren't we blessed? We don't have to go to a library or Barnes and Noble. We've got podcasts, we've got YouTube. We can just click and play, put on headphones. But I guess my point is, I was always leaning towards self-improvement, upgrading. And reading was a way to do that. It was not the most powerful, don't get me wrong. It's easy. It's something that I believe every man and woman should be doing. And I say reading it, I'm also thinking audiobooks and podcasting. I rarely read now. I listen to the audios and podcasts. But reading is something that's really good to do, especially in the downtime. It's not transformational. It's just not. My first weekend, prior to Thumos has done 10 weekends now. Deep work, hard work, great work, transformational. And the reason it is that is because it's connected, it's in nature, it's with like-minded men. We ask deep questions. Who am I? What do I want to be when I grow up, whether I'm 20, 40, or 60? In other words, what am I doing with my life, with my wife and my life? What's my purpose, my passion, my gift to serve the world? We're asking all those questions. How am I showing up as a husband and a dad, as a man, as a friend? All those beautiful questions. But the key is it's an experience. Reading is not. Reading is good, but it's not transformational. It's not an experience. One of our shirts we got says experience the experience. How do you explain an experience? How do you explain a weekend, your first weekend? How do you explain the birth of your first child if you were there? How do you explain Christmas morning, Santa Claus, if you had a good Christmas morning? How do you put that into words? It's an experience. An experience, I think, is what's transformational. But the bottom line is reading is still a good tool. It's a tool that I use, reading and listening, and I've never stopped. So that's one thing that you men can do, is to go to work on yourself, to upgrade, to read, to listen. Do weekends, whether it's Thumos or another weekend, do the deep work, the hard work, to figure out who you are, why you do what you do. What are your root cause, your root issues, your wounds? What did you need as a little boy? We do this on the weekend. What's the 7-year-old little boy? What does he need? What did he not get? Was it love? Was it protection? Was it acceptance? It's all there. It shows up in 40, 50, and 60-year-old men. You see it every single weekend. But really the bottom line is I leaned in and I did the work, and I never stopped the work. I've done 10 weekends since Thumos started. Did weekends before that with Mankind Project. I thank God for those men. I got to learn from them, and they broke me open, man. It was my first breakthrough. Unbelievable. Changed my life. It's why Thumos is around today. I'm grateful. So, man, I think if I could bring that back to you, it's about doing the work, and reading and listening is a key piece of that. Doing a weekend, whether it's Thumos or doing the hard stuff, man. It's not just physical, but it's going into that mind, and even more importantly, it's getting back into that heart. Root cause, time in nature. That's helped me a ton. Another thing that I'm currently doing now with the wife that is working so well is finding ways to connect with her, to meet her where she is. Because see, the deal in Thumos is we men are doing so much work. We're working on ourselves, inner and outer purpose, because they both matter. We call this our mission. But the outer purpose is usually the things that end in ing. It's the doing, whether that be teaching, coaching, counseling, problem solving, managing, leading, selling. Not always ending in ings, but it's the doing piece. And our belief is, let's go find our God-given gift to serve the world, because we ought to be doing that. Find what we're good at, what we're passionate about, but also very good at, competent in, and get really good at that. Like practice, that's the Michael Jordan throwing the free throws, shooting the baskets, thousands of times. mixing a God-given gift with talent, raw talent, and just putting in the work and the sweat, manifesting by visualizing and doing. That's a beautiful thing. When you see a man doing that, and ultimately doing it so long for so well, he gets in a flow state, it's pinnacle. I get to see that being part of Thumos. I get to experience that being in Thumos, especially during the weekends. It's unbelievable. I think every man should do that. Experience something they're really good at and ultimately enter flow state. Anyway, that's the outer purpose, that's the doing, but it's got to be matched up with inner purpose, the being. Be still, getting into nature, realizing that you're somebody, because as we get older, here's the deal, that outer purpose, the selling, the teaching, the doing, the lifting, the strength, the muscle, that backs off, if not goes away. And so that inner purpose becomes even more important. That's the being. Just knowing and being that you are love, light, and strength, that you are a child of God, that you are, end of sentence, without any doing. And what we teach in Thumos is for a man to get that balance and get that right. Too much outer without inner leads to anxiety. Too much inner without outer is sort of lack of purpose and depression. Because at the end of the day, we live in an economized society. We've got to earn a living. We've got bills to pay, and it's not getting any easier. We've got clowns running our country, and it shows. But we also aren't victims. We need to make money. We should make money. We should have an abundance mindset. We should make a lot of money, perhaps, to be abundant, to give it away, to show our kids what it's like to be able to give, to create jobs. Beautiful. But it's about that inner and outer purpose. It's about the inner being the being and the outer being the doing. And that's one thing I spent a lot of time focusing on, and we teach that in Thumos. So that's another thing I would offer men, in addition to doing the work, is get clear on your mission, the inner and outer purpose. What are you passionate about? What are you good at? What would you do if you hit the lotto, the Powerball? What would you do with your day? I see a lot of men scrambling every day, man, chasing after whatever, working, work. And I go, hey man, how are you doing with balance? Are you an integrated man? How are you doing at being a dad? Hey man, your wife is begging you to lead from faith and spirituality. How you doing? I'll say you're working, I know you're busy. How are you doing with what she's asking you for? Hey man, your wife is very into fitness. You're 30 pounds overweight. I don't say that to be mean, I'm not judging you. But I would ask you to consider, you're 30 pounds overweight, your triglycerides are high, your cholesterol is high, your blood pressure is probably high. How is that showing up for longevity? How can you be a good dad if you stroke out, brother? How can you be a good dad, chase your kids around if you don't have the energy? That brings me to my next point. I've spent a long time with myself and these men to become what we call integrated men. So in Thumos, we've got what we call the 8 F's. I won't go through them all, but it's essentially faith, family, fitness, finance, focus, fun, friends. And from time to time, we assess ourselves 1 to 10. How are we doing? How am I doing in each F? And these numbers change. For example, faith, 4 years ago, I gave myself an 8. Today, I give myself a 7, and I'm 10x better. So I've actually just raised the bar. I've recalibrated, and that's okay, because I'm comparing through the years. But what happens when a man becomes what I call successful, and he's an 8 in all of these, in his own mind where he is today, he's an 8. Faith, family, fitness, focus, finance. Focus is your mission, your vision, your passion, your purpose for yourself and leading your family in that area. What happens when a man becomes truly integrated? What happens when a man goes all out and chasing work and money and busy, and he looks up? Because I see this all the time. Show me a man with a lot of money. Show me a C-suite man, and I will almost always show you tragedy, a wrecked life when it comes to relationships and or health, if it's not both. He's got money, and the world loves and respects that. But what about his health, and what about his relationships? I sometimes ask the men, especially on weekends, go to end of life. Go to end of life, what matters most. And they're always going to go to their relationships, their health. Without health, a man thinks he's got a lot of problems. Have a health issue. you'll quickly realize you got one problem. So that's another thing a man can do, is make sure that he's integrated, he's leveling up on all 8 F's. Or maybe it's simpler. Maybe it's just core 4. We talk about that as well. Mind, body, spirit, heart. That's not a bad place to start. But it's about understanding where you are. That's something a man can do. Here's another thing a man can do to optimize marriage. Be intentional with the wife. Meet the wife where she is, and connect with her. For example, Abby and I went to coffee. I brought my journal, my weekend journal. This thing's precious to me. Smells of leather, thumos, beautiful, manly, masculine. I open this up and I go, tell me about your perfect day, baby. And we've done this about 5 years ago. And the truth is, I knew her perfect day, but I wanted to redo it, to check that, number 1. Number 2, to listen to her with intention, to truly hear. And number 3, show her I cared. And she did, man. She started at 5 a.m. or the time she wakes up, which is around 5 a.m. to the time she goes to bed. And she kind of marked off kind of what she did, kind of in time slots. I listened, I shut up, I leaned in, and I journaled it. At the end of that, I've got in writing in my journal her perfect day. Here's the aha. As I was going through this, I'm thinking, wow, she's living her perfect day. Yeah, she could be on the beach in Florida, and that's only 3 hours away, and we do that. But the truth is, we're still surrounded by nature. We have a beautiful, huge, paid-off home, 3 boys in it. We love sports. They're nearby. We're connected to community. Wow, we're living our perfect day. Don't get me wrong, not every day's perfect. Not every day's easy. I'm not saying that at all. But for the most part, she in this case, is living her perfect day. And I know that we stack perfect days, we stack weeks, we stack months, decades. Ultimately, we stack a life. Not all perfect, not all rainbows and sunshine. I get it. But overall, we're stacking a lot of good days, man. I also realized while I was leaning into her that I'm living my perfect day over and over again. That's a beautiful thing. So that's a tactic. Men, consider leaning in, asking your wife, what is the perfect day? You may not be there. There may be traps in that for you, so maybe that's not for everybody, but that's a tactic that works. Another thing that we're doing is we're going through this journal like a stoic. And what this is doing, it's what I'm gonna call light work. So it's more than reading, because we read a stoic passage, and then it asks us a question about ourselves. Think back a time when you were a little boy or girl. Did you get what you needed or didn't need, right? You journal about it. It's not deep, hard work like we do on the weekends, which ultimately has the profound breakthrough and beauty to get a man out of his head and into his heart and get the healing done. It's beautiful. But it's a light, easy way. It's a start, and it does have impact and power. Same thing with the Bible. Go through Bible studies or Bible lessons together. It's about facilitating connected conversation. It's about learning each other. It's about leaning in, listening, getting to know, doing the work. Because, man, if we don't do the work, if the man's doing his work and the woman isn't, this is taking place. That's separation. That's not where we want to go. And thumos, I want to see this, right? We're doing the work together. Or maybe she's doing the work and the man's not. Either way, there's a disconnect. The couple could be becoming unequally yoked. It's not a good thing. Another thing we do, and I do especially after weekends, is when I rate myself on these 8 F's, 1 to 10, is I'll go, okay, honey, your turn. Rate me on these 8 F's, faith, family, finance. How am I doing? And at this point, I just shut up and listen. I offer no feedback unless she wants it. It's not easy, but I want to know what she thinks of me and all these F's. The truth is, oftentimes it's higher than I give myself, because I can be my own worst critic. And I'm kind of okay with that, because I know I have a potential that I not only have not unlocked, I don't even know my own potential. I get excited about that. By the way, I look at everything I'm doing now with these tools, these tactics, spending an hour together every single morning, coffee, conversation, connection with my wife. We share our hopes, our dreams, our future, our vision, our goals, our struggles. It's beautiful, man. On 1 to 10, I rated myself to the guys, and this was our topic this week, how we showing up for our wives. I rated myself a 5. How can I do that? Because I don't even know my own potential, and I'm so excited to see what a 6, a 7, and 8 look like. And I could say an 8 and probably be truthful, but it didn't feel right. I'm a 5, man. If she knew, our wives are intuitive, but if she knew everything that went on in my head and in my heart, which is harder to get into, my day-to-day, my judgment, my shadow, darker side, my impatience, I'm so much better than what I used to be. It's unbelievable. But when I think about my potential, I smile as I give myself a 5 because I can't wait to see what a 6, 7, 8 look like if I get there in this lifetime. And I'm going to continue to lean in and do the work. So, brother, I don't know where you are in your marriage. I don't know if you've been through I'm sure you've been through hardship if you're of any age. I don't know if you're sitting there in betrayal because you've been cheated on, or recent divorce or breakup. Man, we've seen it all. We've got all these guys in different parts of the journey and areas in their life in our connected community called Thumos. If you're sitting in that place of hurt and betrayal, waller in what you need to waller in, brother, but you got to trust me. The faster you get out of that, the better. You got to trust me. If you are betrayed, man, it hurts, it stings, it's vulnerable, it hurts like nothing else. The sting of betrayal from a woman, there's no man that can hurt you like that, I don't think. I'm sorry that happened to you. I've been there on more than one occasion. But here's the deal. You're going to trust again and you're going to love again. It's called life. It's kind of like having kids. You're going to get hurt. It's the scariest thing in the world, and it's the most rewarding thing in the world. That's the yin and yang. That's the dark and light. That's the beauty and the hurt of life, and it is what it is. So let's live. So whatever you're sitting in, man, the faster you can get over it, the faster you can accept what is, the faster that you can send acceptance her way, forgiveness, perhaps even love one day, faster you can get to 100% accountability, or if nothing else, choosing the wrong woman. Your skin in the game. Were you agitated, aggravated? What was it like being married to you? What was it truly like being married to you on the day in, the day out? Were you an upgraded man? Were you the most fit guy in the room if fitness was one of her values? Were you the life of the party, and did you have a lot of character or not? Did you lead her in faith when she was begging you for it? Going to church or her women's group without you? How were you doing in that area? The point is, you're probably doing a lot of good, but you probably have a lot of room for growth. So if you're single out there, I believe you have an opportunity like never before to radically go to work on yourself, to upgrade in all 8 F's, to upgrade yourself, your core 4, mind, body, spirit, heart. Go work out the kinks, go work out the trash. When a man upgrades, he's acting on the law of attraction, manifestation. And I'm not sitting around talking about humming and hugging trees. I'm talking about going to work on yourself and becoming worthy to attract what you want in life. Go get fit, attract in fitness. Go get your mind and your heart right, attract something cleaner and better, an upgraded female into your life. But I tell me, it's like, you're not, I don't mean this mean, but how am I worthy to attract something that's highly upgraded if I've not upgraded? It's law of attraction. So if you're single out there, go upgrade yourself. If you're married, man, like I am, never stop upgrading. Never stop going to work on yourself. Why would you? Why would you? It's not all about work. It's about fun. It's about play as well. By the way, fun and play are attractive to a woman. Want to find some pretty women? If you're out there and you're single, want to find pretty women? Go around money and fun. You'll probably find pretty women. My point is, though, it's about integrating. It's about having productive work and earning good money, to be abundant, to do good things. That's security. Most women are going to appreciate and like that. Have the body, Yeah, we can argue that's, the biceps and the abs are superficial. Maybe, maybe not. But what about the health that goes behind it, and the longevity, and showing up and having energy to support, to serve, to lead the wife, to chase after the kids, and be around a long time? So those are my thoughts, my brother. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've also done a whole lot of things right. And I'm blessed to have a community of men to not only hold me accountable, to meet with me weekly on our Zoom calls, to share wisdom with me, not just tactics and techniques. Lord knows there's millions of those out there between the podcast and the YouTubes. But you know what's not out there on the Joe Rogans and the David Goggins and Hermosi, Tate, whoever it is you guys are listening to? Man, that's all good stuff. It's fine. Take the protein, spit out the fat, right? But those guys don't know you. What if you find you a tribe of men that know you? A tribe of men who have done it. Not perfect, but they're progressing. That know you, that care to speak truth into you. That can also give you tools, tactics, techniques. Maybe they're not at the $100 million mark. Maybe they're 3 or 4 or 5 million. So they haven't screwed up the finance game, but they're very integrated. They're relatable. They know you. They care about you. They love you. That's the blessing I have, and that's why I have what I think is an unfair advantage. Maybe it's fair. I don't know. Brothers, that's what I got for you. Wherever you are, it's probably not too late. I hope it's not too late for you to lean in, connect with the wife, bring her along on the journey. Or if she's on the journey ahead of you, lean in. Catch up with her, brother. Thank you.